is the last Sunday of our liturgical year. And always on this 34th Sunday of Ordinary Time, we celebrate the solemnity of our Lord Jesus Christ, King of the universe. The readings focus heavily on the theme of the kingdom of Christ, which was typified or foreshadowed by the kingdom of David. The first reading from the book of Samuel describes the moment when David was established as the king of Israel of all 12 tribes of Israel. Saul had been Israel's first king, but after his death, the tribe of Judah anointed David as their king, but the other tribes anointed Saul's son to be their king. This Sunday's passage recounts the point at which the northern tribes, recognizing David's leadership against the Philistines and God's declaration of him as a shepherd and ruler, finally accepted his kingship, ending a 7-year schism, uniting all 12 tribes of Israel under the one kingdom of David. The second reading is from the letter of Paul to the Colossians. Scholars believe that Paul wrote this letter while he was imprisoned in Ephesus, just 100 or so miles away. Although Paul had never visited Colossus, he composed the letter based on reports of his disciple Epaphras, who had founded that community in Colossus and now was imprisoned with Paul when he was writing this letter. The young church in Colossus was faced with a dangerous heresy. Some of the people had combined Jewish legalism with pagan philosophy and had developed some theories, some thoughts that really diminished the role of Christ in the Christian faith, undermining Christ's central role in salvation. This Sunday's passage is a hymn exalting Christ as the King of all creation. And what's interesting about this, Paul is probably writing this letter around AD 60, some less than 30 years after Jesus' death. And this hymn contains such remarkable theology of Christ and what Christ was all about. It's pretty remarkable that they were singing this hymn less than 30 years after his death. Our gospel comes from the Gospel of Luke and is Luke's narration of the crucifixion of Christ. At first, this gospel seems like a sharp contrast with previous readings, which emphasize the glory and power of Jesus Christ, the Son of David. Here in the gospel, we see Jesus mocked, reviled, humiliated, and killed. Yet there is a paradoxical truth here. The cross is Jesus' throne. Jesus is no king in the worldly sense, but ruler of the humble heart, the contrite who asks forgiveness, and those who put all their hope in God alone. So our question for this Sunday is simple. Is Christ the King of your life?